art stars and welcome. Today we're going to be doing some printmaking and we're going to learn how to create a collagraph plate and how to make a collagraph print from the collagraph plate. So here's an example I made earlier. A collagraph is basically a plate, or I've used a piece of cardboard here from an old pizza box with an image of different shapes stuck onto there from different textures. And what we're going to do in the session is paint over it and then print it on some paper to create a finished art piece from it. So what you're going to need for today is some cardboard. I've used some quite thick cardboard. This is a pizza box, but whatever you've got, like a cereal box, yeah, whatever cardboard you've got will work really nicely for that. Preferably the thicker the better. And some bits of old junk. So it's a good idea if you ask an adult if you can get some bits out of the recycling. Some bits of junk or recycled materials that have different textures on. So this is an orange bag. It's quite an interesting texture. String, wool or cord work really nicely if you've got anything like that. Tin foil, rather than using any new foil, because it's a bit wasteful, I keep hold of my old bits sometimes and keep them in a bag to use for projects like this. And it actually works well when it's scrunched up like this, so that's perfect. That's from my sandwiches yesterday. And if you've got any corrugated card, so this was from a disposable coffee cup, that works really nicely. Polystyrene works really nicely, so if you've had any pizzas recently and have the polystyrene from the back of the pizza, that works really well for what we're doing, and you can draw into it and make patterns. That works really well. Red lentils, pasta, just ask an adult about that. Here's a test I made before that I've painted over. So elastic bands, I've got these little wooden stumps from the craft kit, they work quite well. Feather, whatever you've got, because we're just going to have an experiment. And what I want you to do is just get a little piece of cardboard to make a test. It could be any size you want. So I've got a really small one here. I've just started painting it to make a test. Just using some PVA glue, just stick down your objects that you've got. I've got pieces of tin foil on there, my corrugated card, a straw, piece of string, and yeah, I just started painting that to make a test, but I'm just going to finish that off now and make a print of it to see how it comes out. And you're also going to need, like I said, some PVA glue, some different paint brushes. Fun if you're using PVA glue, it's good to have a bit of an older brush for that, because it can ruin the bristles on your nicer painting brushes. So if you've got one that's a bit older or less perfect, that's good for gluing. Like I say, your old recycled bits of tin foil, polystyrene, and some of your acrylic paints. If you don't have any acrylic paints at home, poster paints will work, or if you've got tubes of watercolour, they'll work as well, and a container of water as well. So what I'm going to do, I've stuck these on last night. You want to leave them about 20 minutes to dry before you do the test. So get them stuck down. Like I say, it's just a test. We're going to see how they come out. I'm just going to move my camera down. And I'm just going to pick a colour, any colour, and quickly just paint the object on my test. So we work very quickly when we're painting the collagraphs because it dries quickly, and we want to see what textures we can get while it's still wet. So we work quickly with the painting once it's all down. Yeah, and I've got a straw on there. The thing is with straws, they make quite interesting marks and textures. They do tend to fall off a bit when we're printing, but have a go and see what you can, see how yours comes out, what you can create. Bit of string, bit of bubble wrap. There you go. So I'm doing it quite quickly while it's nice and wet. I'm going to use a piece of paper. If you've got some scrap paper, that's fine if you don't want to use a new sheet. And I'm just going to see from this what textures we can get. So I'm just going to press my collagraph test against my paper, and this will help determine what pieces we go for with the final artwork. Take it off. There we go. So just from my test there, I can see the bubble wraps come out quite nicely. I've got 3 very clear dots from that, so that's quite a nice effect, quite a nice texture. Tin foil is sort of faded a bit into the background, so that could be nice if you're doing an artwork, if you want a background on, or if you're doing a bird or animal and you just want some texture that looks like feathers or fur. The straw, I've got a faded out line there, that's quite interesting. And the corrugated card, got some little vertical lines, and that's quite interesting. I like it. So the idea is, from doing that little test, it might give you some inspiration into what lines and marks you can get from using different textures and surfaces. And it should hopefully give you some ideas for what you want to create for your collagraph artwork. Okay, so I'm going to put that down. So here's one I made earlier. And I've got a bit of corrugated card on for the wing. I looked at some collagraph artist prints of birds online, and they had so many different varying textures in, so different threads, bubble wrap, so I thought that would work really nicely to have an experiment with that. Or some collagraph printing, like I say, it's really simple. Sometimes artists and children just cut out cardboard shapes and stick them down, or an image, create the whole artwork image using shapes from cardboard. That's fine as well if you'd like to do this. I think I'm going to make this one into a robin. It's nice and Christmassy. So you've got a choice. You can do one like this where you collage down the shapes, stick down the shapes like you did with Annie the other week. I know you did a bit of collage with Annie. So we're doing this with thicker textures and shapes and then printing from it. So like I say, you can do one and it can be quite big, and you can create multiple prints from that in different colours, so more than one. Or if you want to challenge, if you've done collagraph printing before, you want to try this, you can make more than one plate. So I've got my one plate I've made here. It's nice and dry. I'm going to make another one to mirror that. So make another bird to face it, and then I'm going to make a series of prints from that. This bird's going to be a bit different. I'm keeping it quite simple shape-wise. So I've just cut out a head, a body, and then I'm just going to stick some of the different textures down on top. And I'll start printing this one while I wait for this one to dry. So just using getting a bit of PVA glue, I'm just going to stick those shapes down. Bear in mind any marks or lines on the shapes you're using. You won't be able to see them, any patterns. It's just what we paint on that comes through, or the actual textures of the piece. I'm just going to glue this bird down. There we go. So that's going to be like a body, I think. And just to be clear, you're welcome to do a bird, or you can create your own artwork. It could be anything you want. It could be a self-portrait, it could be an animal, a person, whatever you want to do. A landscape. Or, like I say, a mirrored image. So it could be the side portrait of 2 people. Remember a few weeks ago we looked at daily scenes, and we spoke about how people would look if they were having a conversation. It could be 2 people facing each other and talking. Yeah, I've got 2 birds here, 2 animals facing each other. So it's up to you. I've got this shape here out of the corrugated card. Now I'm going to keep things simple because of time with mine, but you've got a few hours, so if you want to get very detailed with yours, with your picture, then of course you can. That would be lovely. There we go. I'm just going to stick the corrugated card on there. I'm going to try and keep everything that I stick down quite high because the card I'm using is quite thick. So anything underneath might not show up as well. So I'm going to stick everything on top. I'm going to use a little bit of wool here. I give the bird a little eye made out of wool. So I'm just going to stick that down. Like that. So that's quite simple. Yeah, that's great. So I've just done quite a simple little bird there. Like I say, you could try with a simple one like this and then go in and add more textures on to make it a bit more complex, like this one. And what I'm going to do now, I am going to paint this one and then I'm going to print it down on the paper, or I'm going to print this one while I wait for this one to dry, because it's going to need a minute or two for the PVA glue to dry so the objects don't fall off. So I'm going to put some paints on here. I think I'm going to make this one into a robin to make it nice, and yeah, as we're quite close to Christmas. Like I say, we need to work quite quickly when we're doing this so the paints don't dry. I'm going to put on quite a thick layer of paint. So I'm going to give him a red chest, being quite generous with my application of the paint. And I thought I'd put bubble wrap on the chest because it would give us, like I say, robins have a red chest. I thought that would make it stand out. We get those nice bubbly textures at the front. I think I'll give my robin a blue eye. I might come to that at the end. I'm going to paint it brown. Not used this paint yet, so brush nice and clean. Using quite a generous layer of the paint. And the only areas that will show up when you do this print are the areas that you've painted, the ones that you've left, yeah, the ones that you've not put. Anything that you've stuck down that you've not painted over isn't going to show up. So make sure that you put paint over everything that you want to see. You can paint the background as well, or you might just leave that as card. But yeah, it is important that we work very, very quickly. I know I normally say to take our time with painting. This does tend to, like I say, if it dries, it won't print. So there we go, and I'm going to do the eye in a different colour, I think. Yeah, you can do something on the background if you want. Like I said, I've got quite a raised surface here. The background might not be that clear, so I might leave that as it is. I'm going to pop a bit of blue on the eye. Nice bright blue there. And a bit of yellow for the beak. And a couple of very quickly put a bit of white on as well. Like I say, I'm quite aware of time and the paint's drying, so go quick. I'll put a bit around the bird's chest. There we go. And there's the robin painted. There's the robin collagraph plate. And now I'm going to print it. I think I want to, like I said, I want I've done the bird so they're facing each other. I'll put this one down first on the paper. So I'm just going to wait for it to dry. So I'll pop the robin down here and just give it a really good firm press down. Like I say, hopefully that's still wet enough. Hopefully nothing will fall off. There we go. And I've got a nice little robin impression there. It's quite interesting. There we go. Lovely. Okay, and just quickly, I'm just going to do the other bird and do it so they're facing each other. So it's a bit conversational, a bit like they're having a facing each other, talking, tweeting. And the great thing about these plates, you can keep them forever now when they're dry, and you can do them in multiple colours. So you can try some different colours over the top of this one if you want, over the top of the first plate. And you can create as many prints as you want, as many artworks as you want from them. So I'd keep hold of them after you finish today, and then, like I say, you can try them with different colours, or you can do a series of prints today. You can layer colours on top, see how they blend in. You might use the same ones again and again. Here we go. I'm going to put some different colours on this bird. I'm just going to be a bit creative now, I think, and make this bird blue. And like I say, you can do, like I have, a mirrored image, so two images which are, two pictures which are mirroring each other, facing each other. Or you can do, you can just do one picture, or you could do the same thing twice, like you could do the robin more than once, and having the both pictures of the bird so they're facing each other. You could have, I think that would be great if anyone wants to do two people having a conversation. So we're combining a lot of your different skills today that you've learned. So your collage skills, your portraiture skills, your, like I say, drawing people in different places and situations. Thinking about what angle you're drawing things from. Or if you're doing something like a house, for example, it might be a zoom in of one part of the house. Or a garden, or one flower in the garden. Again, just apply these things that we've learned. Think about how much you're going to put on there, how much you're going to show us, and why. Give this bird a red beak. This is quite a playful, quite a simple one. The second one, let's see how it comes out. And you can wait for them to dry if you want to do multiple prints, so more than one print from the same plate, from the same collagraph print. You can wait for it to dry and then paint the same colours over the top to create more. Well, sorry, you can do that when it's wet too, or you can wait for it to dry and then paint different colours over the top, or you can paint different colours over the top when it's still wet if you want, and see what happens when they mix together, see what new colours are formed. There we go. this one down here. Or you might just want to create, if this is your first time doing this, this is your first time on ArtStars. So I know we did collagraph printing in the summer with one picture. You might just want to try one. Take your time doing one picture, one plate, one image. There we go, pressed it down, just going to gently peel that back. There we go. And I think the blue on this one has not come out quite so clearly. I think maybe I was a bit slower printing it, but we've still got that impression of a bird there, which is quite interesting. So it might be slightly abstract, but we can just make out the shape of something. But the idea would be now, as I've done two quite small plates, and I'm using quite a large sheet of A3 paper here, that I continue. So I paint over the top of this one again, the robin, and put it down here, and just create a pattern, or like I say, change the colours, and yeah, create a whole scene out of it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this anyway, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come up with and create. Please do make time to do a test first, so you get a feel of the different textures that you can use and what marks and patterns they make, or do a series of tests, and then come on to create one final picture. Just a reminder, it can be anything you want. I mean, you're welcome to do a bird if you want, but I'd be really interested to see if you come up with anything different. So yeah, it could be anything. It could be a person, it could be a zoom in on the face of the eye, anything like that you want, okay? And one picture or a series of stamps like this that can mirror each other. I hope you've enjoyed this anyway, and yeah, I will see you on Zoom very shortly to see what you've come up with. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll see you then, guys. Take care.